While everyone's busy scrolling TikTok, Amish families in Ohio and Pennsylvania are quietly stockpiling 10 dirt-cheap essentials, each under $5 that could be absolute lifesavers this winter. If NOAA's forecast for a weird, unpredictable winter 2025 is even half right, these items could become priceless for survival or even bartering. I'm Sean, a Midwest prepper since 2014, and I've lived through ice storms, blackouts, and that brutal 2019 freeze that left us powerless for 6 days. Trust me, winter's not just colder now. It's unpredictable. Supply chains are shaky, and waiting until the last minute, that's how you end up with empty shelves and overpriced junk. In this video, I'm breaking down 10 overlooked Amish-inspired survival items you can grab now before they're gone. If you're serious about prepping smart, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into it. Point 1. The ultimate pocket-sized fire starter. Let's start with the most fundamental survival tool, fire. If you can only stock one item for creating a flame, it has to be the common disposable lighter. These are the unsung heroes of preparedness. Especially when a winter storm knocks out the power, the ability to reliably make fire in any condition is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Fire provides warmth, cooks your food, boils water to make it safe for drinking, and can be used for signaling. It's also a significant morale booster when you've been sitting in the dark for days. During the January 2024 blizzard, I saw firsthand how valuable a simple lighter can be. A neighbor who has a wood stove and is generally well prepared traded a full can of beef stew for just 2 big lighters. His own matches had gotten damp and were useless, and his ferro rod was failing to produce a spark in the whipping wind. The other person, who was desperate for a hot meal, had no reliable way to start a fire. That little plastic lighter, however, worked with a simple click. That's the critical difference between eating cold rations and having a hot, comforting meal. In a crisis, that's everything. You can find these lighters almost anywhere. Walmart, Dollar General, or online. A 48-pack on Amazon costs around $12, breaking down to a mere quarter per lighter. Even if you're on a very tight budget, a 5-pack from a dollar store for a few bucks is one of the smartest investments you can make for your survival stockpile. Some people might argue for more robust options like Zippos, but for bulk stockpiling and bartering, they are impractical. A single Zippo can cost upwards of $20, and that doesn't include the ongoing need for fuel, flints, and wicks. Disposable lighters offer thousands of lights with zero maintenance. They are lightweight and small enough to be stashed everywhere. Your vehicle's glove box, your emergency bag, your coat pockets, and your kitchen junk drawer. My advice is to distribute them widely, so you're never without one. Here are a couple of advanced tips I picked up. First, always test a lighter from each new package you buy. I've purchased bulk packs in the past only to find an entire batch was defective, either lacking fuel or having a faulty flint. It's far better to discover that now than during an emergency. Second, a trick I learned from Amish traders in Lancaster is to freeze your lighters for 24 hours before long-term storage. It sounds strange, but the cold causes the butane to contract, which helps seal any microscopic leaks in the valve. This simple step can significantly extend their shelf life. I've been using this method for years, and my stockpile from 18 months ago still lights on the first try. Finally, store them in an airtight container with a few silica gel packets. Moisture is the enemy of disposable lighters. Even a small amount of humidity can corrode the mechanism over time. Point 2. The pocket-sized dry box for critical gear. Next up is an item that most people haven't thought about in years, but one that Amish communities have cleverly repurposed for survival. 35mm film canisters. I know it sounds dated in 2025, but these small plastic cylinders are one of the most effective and nearly free survival hacks you can find. Their value lies in their ability to keep small, critical items completely dry and protected. Think about it: your emergency tinder, vital medications, seeds for a future garden, or for barter, or even a small stash of emergency cash. If any of these items get wet, they become useless. This isn't just about convenience, it's about functionality when you need it most. I picked up this tip from an Amish friend in Holmes County, Ohio. He uses these canisters to store everything from herbal remedies to his fire starting kit. During a week-long power outage after that blizzard in January 2024, many people discovered their emergency supplies were ruined. Cotton balls meant for tinder had absorbed moisture from the damp basement air and turned into useless fluff. Meanwhile, his tinder, safely sealed inside one of these canisters, remained perfectly dry. That's the difference between starting a fire in seconds or shivering through a cold night. What makes these canisters so valuable is their versatility and durability. They are waterproof, crush-resistant, and feature a tight sealing lid that locks out moisture and air. They are small enough to slip into a pocket, yet large enough to hold matches, pills, fishing hooks and line, or a rolled-up $20 bill. Because of their uniform, cylindrical shape, they stack together neatly, allowing you to organize and store a large number of them in a small space. This is incredibly useful for a bug-out bag or for organizing barter goods. The best part is the cost for it. Visit local photo developing labs. Many still have boxes of these left over from the film era, and will gladly give them to you. If you can't find a local source, check online marketplaces like eBay or community sites like FreeCycle. I've seen large lots for $1 or less, and often people are giving them away to clear out space. While you could use old pill bottles, they are often bulkier, don't stack as efficiently, and their caps don't provide the same reliable airtight seal. The film canister's lid has a small groove that creates a superior seal, making it much more dependable for long-term storage. I keep about 24 of these in my primary prep storage, each labeled with a permanent marker: tinder, iodine pills, barter seeds. A simple system that works. For a quick pro tip, drill a tiny hole near the top, attach a key ring, and you have a waterproof container for your keychain to hold emergency cash, or a micro USB drive with important documents. Point 3. The zero-cost camp stove and storage container. This next item is something you probably throw in the recycling bin every week without a second thought. Used metal coffee cans. Those empty containers from Folgers or Maxwell House are survival gold, and they cost you absolutely nothing to acquire. Their importance becomes clear when the power grid fails. You need a reliable non-electric method to cook food, boil water, or even provide a small amount of radiant heat. A clean coffee can accomplishes all of this and more for free. My own experience during the 2019 Midwest deep freeze proved their worth. With the power out for 6 days, by day 3, I had converted an old coffee can into a functional hobo stove. Using just a handful of twigs and a couple of tea lights placed inside, I was able to boil a cup of water in under 15 minutes. At the same time, I saw a neighbor attempting to heat soup in a plastic container over a candle. A foolish and dangerous move. Metal conducts heat efficiently, it won't melt, and it won't leach harmful chemicals into your food. The practicality of a simple metal can in a power-out situation cannot be overstated. The true value of coffee cans lies in their toughness and multifunctionality. Amish families I've spoken with use them for a huge range of tasks. They become containers for storing rendered lard and nails, sewing supplies, or even barter goods like loose tobacco and dried herbs. The cans are rust-resistant and stackable, and the plastic lids they come with create a decent seal to keep moisture and pests out of your dry goods. To get them, simply start saving your own. If you don't drink coffee, ask neighbors, local churches, or diners. Many establishments go through dozens of these cans each week and are happy to give them away. Before using a can, make sure to prepare it properly. Wash it thoroughly with soap and water to remove any coffee residue. Peel off the paper label as it's flammable. Then take a metal file or sandpaper and smooth down the sharp inner rim left by the can opener. I keep a small file in my workshop specifically for this purpose. Once prepped, the can is a versatile tool ready for cooking, storage, or even as a makeshift emergency toilet when lined with a trash bag. One important safety note: never use a coffee can for long-term storage of gasoline or kerosene. The metal is not rated for volatile fuels, and chemical reactions can create dangerous fumes or degrade the can itself. Stick to using them for dry goods, water, and food-safe applications. This simple piece of trash is one of the most useful items in a prepper's arsenal. Point 4. The clean-burning, long-lasting light source. When the power grid fails, your first instinct might be to grab a flashlight. But batteries die. Instead, consider the Amish approach. Beeswax tea light candles. These are not the decorative, scented candles you find in gift shops. These are serious survival assets. The ability to produce reliable, safe, and long-lasting light and heat without depending on electricity is a game-changer. In a prolonged outage, a steady flame is more than just practical. It provides a sense of calm and normalcy when the world outside is anything but. Paraffin candles, the cheap ones most people buy, are a poor substitute. They are petroleum-based, release soot and toxins into the air, and burn down quickly. Beeswax is the superior choice. It burns clean, actually helping to purify the air by releasing negative ions, and offers a significantly longer burn time. A single beeswax tea light can last 4 to 6 hours, sometimes even longer depending on the quality. During a power outage last winter, I put this to the test. A few tea lights were enough to gently warm a mason jar of soup, dry out a pair of damp gloves, and provide enough light to read by. Amish communities have known this for generations, using them for countless daily tasks. From providing light for evening chores to gently warming a baby's bottle, the cost effectiveness is another major benefit. You can find these at bulk suppliers like Azure Standard, directly from Amish stores or on Amazon. A 10-jar pack of 100% beeswax tea lights usually costs around $20, which works out to just 20 cents per candle. For the amount of light and low-level heat they provide, that's an incredible value. If you're on a strict budget, even a smaller 24-pack from a local health food store for $5 or $6 is a smart investment in your preparedness. When buying, you must be vigilant. Look for packaging that explicitly states 100% beeswax. Many brands dilute their candles with cheaper paraffin or soy wax to lower costs, which compromises both burn time and air quality. Always read the fine print. For storage, I keep mine in a sealed plastic tote with a silica gel packet. While moisture won't ruin the wax itself, it can affect the wicks, and keeping them sealed protects them from dust and pests. Here's a practical tip I learned from an off-grid homesteader. Combine this item with the coffee can. Place 3 lit tea lights inside an empty can and set a wire cooling rack over the top. This creates a surprisingly effective micro oven, perfect for warming food, drying herbs, or even toasting a piece of bread. It's silent, requires no electricity, and uses materials you already have. Don't expect to heat a room with tea lights, but for personal warmth inside a tent or sleeping bag, they are invaluable. Their barter potential is also high. After the 2024 blizzard, I heard stories of people willing to trade a pack of batteries for just 2 of these candles. Point 5. The ultimate foot protection for extreme cold. Next, we need to address core body temperature, and that starts with your feet. I'm not talking about standard cotton or synthetic winter socks. I'm referring to 100% wool socks, the thick, durable kind that can keep your feet warm even when wet. In a winter survival scenario, the ability to maintain body heat is non-negotiable, and your feet are one of the primary points of heat loss. If your feet get cold and wet, you are on a fast track to frostbite and hypothermia. This is where the material science of your clothing becomes critically important. Cotton is a killer in the cold. It absorbs moisture like a sponge and holds it against your skin, actively pulling heat away from your body. Synthetic materials like polyester might dry faster, but they offer almost zero insulation once they become damp. Wool is the undisputed champion. It has natural properties that wick moisture away from the skin while trapping air for insulation. Crucially, it continues to insulate even when it's completely soaked. I learned this lesson in the most direct way possible during the January 2024 blizzard. My truck slid off an icy road into a snow-filled ditch, and I had to wait nearly half a day in sub-zero temperatures for assistance. My boots eventually soaked through with melted snow, but because I was wearing a quality pair of merino wool socks, my feet stayed warm enough to prevent injury. A friend in a similar situation who was wearing a cotton blend sock wasn't so lucky. He suffered minor frostnip and couldn't feel his toes for 2 days. The difference was the wool. This practical survival advantage also translates into high barter values. Experienced preppers and Amish families understand the life-saving importance of good socks. In a long-term crisis, a clean, dry pair of 100% wool socks could be traded for food, fuel, or other essential supplies, especially to someone with children to keep warm. The best part is that you can acquire these for next to nothing. Thrift stores like Goodwill and Salvation Army are gold mines for high-quality wool socks, often for just $1 to $3 a pair. You have to hunt for them and check the labels carefully. Look for 100% wool or merino wool and avoid any blends with more than 10% synthetic fiber, as that dilutes the performance. If you prefer to buy new, discount retailers like Sierra or the clearance section at REI are good places to find deals. But for building a substantial stockpile, thrifting is the way to go. For a couple of dollars, you're getting a piece of gear that could literally save your life. In my home, we maintain a dedicated stockpile of over 20 pairs, which we rotate and store in vacuum-sealed bags to prevent damage from moths. A pro tip is to add a few cedar blocks or a sachet of dried lavender to the bag as a natural non-chemical moth deterrent. The one rule to never break: no cotton socks in a winter emergency. They may feel comfortable at home, but in the field, they are a liability. Point 6. The pocket-sized water sterilization system. Staying warm and having light is important, but nothing matters more than safe drinking water. Your primary plan might be a water filter or boiling, but those methods have weaknesses. Filters can clog, break, or freeze solid in winter conditions. Boiling requires a fire, which consumes precious fuel and takes time. You need a foolproof backup, and that comes in the form of chlorine dioxide water purification tablets. These generic, potable aqua-style tablets are cheap, lightweight, and incredibly effective. The ability to render almost any water source biologically safe without fire or complex equipment is a critical survival capability. Dehydration is a serious threat in cold weather. Because you don't sweat as much, you often fail to realize how much fluid your body is losing. Drinking from an unknown source like melted snow from a roadside ditch or a stagnant puddle is a gamble that can lead to debilitating illnesses like giardia or cryptosporidiosis. I've relied on these tablets for years during winter camping trips and grid-down simulations. They are simple, reliable, and get the job done. Following the 2024 blizzard, a friend's well pump froze. His only option was to collect melted snow from a pile near his barn, which was likely contaminated with animal waste. 2 tablets in a liter of that water, a 30-minute wait, and it was safe to drink. This is why Amish communities keep these tablets on hand in their homes, wagons, and emergency kits. They understand that even the most reliable well can fail, and being prepared for that possibility is just common sense. You can find these tablets at Walmart in the camping aisle, at outdoor stores like REI, or online. A bottle of 100 tablets typically costs around $12, which means you can purify 100 liters of water for about 12 cents each. Even a smaller 50-tablet bottle for $7 or $8 is one of the most cost-effective health insurance policies you can buy. Some people suggest using household bleach as an alternative, but that's a risky method. Measuring the correct number of drops is difficult, especially in low light, and using scented or improper bleach can be toxic. Furthermore, a bottle of bleach is not practical for a bug-out bag and has little value for bartering. Tablets are pre-measured, sealed for portability, and can be easily traded. For best results, always pre-filter cloudy or murky water through a bandana or coffee filter before adding the tablet. This removes sediment and allows the chlorine dioxide to work more effectively. Pay attention to the expiration date. They typically have a shelf life of 4 to 5 years, but this can be shortened by exposure to heat and humidity. Store them in a cool, dry, dark place. Finally, make sure you are buying chlorine dioxide tablets, not iodine. Iodine is less effective as it doesn't kill the resilient parasite Cryptosporidium, and it is not recommended for pregnant individuals or for long-term use. Chlorine dioxide is the standard used by the military and serious outdoor enthusiasts for a reason. It's safer and more effective. Point 7. The pocket-sized repair and first aid kit. Let's talk about one of the most underestimated survival items you can find, the humble safety pin. It's easy to dismiss this tiny piece of bent metal, but in a crisis, a handful of assorted safety pins can solve a surprising number of problems. When you can't just buy a replacement or find the right tool, the ability to repair, secure, and improvise becomes a critical skill. A safety pin is a master of improvisation. Imagine you're caught in a brutal winter wind, and the zipper on your jacket breaks. Without a way to close it, you're exposing your cord to life-threatening cold. A few large safety pins can securely fasten that jacket, trapping your body heat and potentially preventing hypothermia. The same goes for torn clothing, a ripped tent flap, or a broken strap on your pack. A quick repair with a safety pin can keep you moving and protected. Beyond simple repairs, safety pins have legitimate first aid applications. While not a substitute for proper medical supplies, they can be a lifesaver in a pinch. If you suffer a deep cut and lack butterfly closures, a sterilized safety pin can be used to hold the edges of the wound together until you can get proper medical attention. They are also perfect for securing a pressure dressing over a bleeding wound or fashioning a sling for an injured arm. By pinning a sleeve to the front of a shirt, Amish communities, particularly those with a focus on sewing and self-sufficiency, understand the immense value of these simple tools. They are kept in every work basket and are a common item for trade because, in a world without modern fasteners, the ability to pin things together is essential. The best part about stockpiling safety pins is the cost. You can get a 100-count pack of assorted sizes at a dollar store for $1, or find them in the sewing aisles of most big box stores for a similar price. This breaks down to about a penny per pin, making it one of the most cost-effective preps imaginable. For storage, I keep a stash of about 50 pins inside a 35mm film canister, which keeps them dry, organized, and prevents them from rattling around or poking through my gear. I separate them by size: small pins for medical use and clothing repairs, and larger, more robust pins for gear and shelter fixes. Here's a useful trick. Magnetize your pins by rubbing them against a strong magnet. You can then stick them to a metal surface inside your toolkit or on the side of an ammo can for immediate, easy access. You can even improvise a fishing hook by bending the point of a pin slightly and tying it to a line. When buying, Try to find stainless steel or nickel-plated pin. They are far more resistant to rust and will hold up better in damp conditions than their cheaper counterparts. Point 8. The ultimate multi-use medical and utility wrap. The next item on our list is something you've probably seen in a veterinary clinic or a farm supply store: cohesive bandage, often known by the brand name Vet Wrap. While it was designed for animals, this stretchy, self-adhering wrap is an incredibly versatile tool for human survival, both for medical and utility purposes. Its core function is providing support and compression for injuries without needing tape, clips, or pins. This is crucial in an emergency. The bandage sticks firmly to itself but not to skin, hair, or clothing, which means you can apply it quickly and remove it without causing more pain or leaving a sticky mess. It's also breathable, water-resistant, and maintains its tension even when wet or cold. When professional medical help is unavailable, the ability to properly manage injuries like sprains, strains, or deep cuts is paramount. During the 2024 blizzard, I saw its value firsthand when a cousin twisted his ankle while out on a snowmobile. We were miles from any help. Using a roll of vet wrap, we tightly secured a folded bandana over his ankle, providing both compression to control swelling and stability for the joint. This allowed him to walk back to our cabin with minimal pain and prevented the injury from becoming much worse. This is precisely why Amish families often keep rolls of it in their buggies and barns. They understand that in an off-grid setting, you are your own first responder, and having a multi-purpose tool that can treat both livestock and people is invaluable. The utility of vet wrap extends far beyond first aid. Its self-adhering and waterproof properties make it a superior alternative to duct tape in many situations, especially in the cold where traditional adhesives fail. You can use it to create a waterproof seal on a leaking container, repair a split handle on an axe, or silence rattling gear in your pack. It can be used to improve the grip on tools or even to bundle firewood. In a dire emergency, it can be layered tightly to function as a tourniquet to stop severe bleeding, though this should always be a last resort. You can find vet wrap at Tractor Supply Co., farm stores, or online for about $3 to $5 a roll. A single roll goes a long way. For my primary first aid kit, I keep one full-sized roll and another that I've cut into narrower 2-inch strips and re-rolled. This allows me to use only what I need for smaller tasks, or to have individual strips ready for bartering. A key tip for application: don't stretch it to its maximum. Overstretching weakens its ability to adhere to itself and can dangerously restrict circulation. Always place a sterile dressing like gauze over an open wound before applying the wrap. Point 9. The ultimate morale-boosting barter item. Now for an item that might seem out of place on a survival list, but is one of the most powerful tools for long-term endurance: instant dry yeast. Those small vacuum-sealed foil packets you see in the baking aisle are more than just an ingredient for bread. In a prolonged crisis, yeast becomes a triple-threat asset for food, health, and barter. First and foremost is its ability to transform basic, shelf-stable ingredients, flour, water, salt, into fresh, warm, nourishing food. The psychological impact of this cannot be overstated. After days or weeks of eating cold, pre-packaged rations, the smell and taste of freshly baked bread can provide a profound sense of comfort, normalcy, and hope. It's a signal that you are not just surviving, but still living. This boost to morale is just as critical as any piece of gear. Beyond its role in baking, yeast has a lesser-known application: the fermentation process, where yeast consumes sugars and releases carbon dioxide, can help suppress the growth of some harmful bacteria. While it is absolutely not a replacement for proper water purification methods like boiling or using chlorine dioxide tablets, adding a small amount of yeast to questionable water can help reduce the microbial load while you wait for a better purification method. I've spoken with Amish bakers who use this traditional technique during spring thaws, when their well water can become murky and less reliable. It's a secondary layer of protection, rooted in practical, old-world knowledge. The true value of yeast in a collapse scenario, however, may lie in its barter potential. It's lightweight, compact, and has a long shelf life, making it perfect for trade. In a community struggling with food fatigue, a single packet of yeast holds immense value. It represents the ability to create fresh bread, a tangible symbol of stability and comfort. People would willingly trade other valuable resources: eggs, firewood, medical supplies, ammunition, for that simple ability. You can purchase instant dry yeast in bulk at warehouse clubs like Costco or Sam's Club, where a box of 100 packets might cost around $20 to $25. This makes each packet just a quarter. Even a 3-pack from a regular grocery store for under $2 is a worthwhile investment. Be sure to get instant yeast, not active dry, as it has a longer shelf life and is easier to use. For long-term storage, freezing is the best method. It dramatically slows the degradation of the yeast, potentially extending its viability for over a decade. Keep it in its original foil packet and place it inside a sealed Mylar bag in your freezer. Point 10. The indestructible zero-cost water container. Finally, let's discuss an item that most people throw away without a second thought. Yet it's one of the most useful free resources for a winter emergency. The empty 2-liter soda bottle. It might sound absurdly simple, but these containers are nearly perfect for water storage in freezing conditions. The primary challenge of stockpiling water for winter is that water expands when it freezes, and most containers can't handle the pressure. Glass jars shatter. Milk jugs and standard water jugs are made of thin, brittle plastic that splits and cracks, leaving you with a frozen mess and no drinkable water. 2-liter soda bottles, on the other hand, are made from a thicker, more flexible plastic specifically designed to withstand the pressure of carbonation. This same property allows them to expand with freezing water instead of breaking. I have personally left dozens of these bottles filled with water in my unheated garage through a Midwest winter, with temperatures dropping well below zero, and not a single one has ever cracked. This durability makes them the ideal free container for creating a substantial water stockpile. All you have to do is save them after you finish the soda. Rinse them thoroughly with soap and water, let them air dry completely, and you have a food-grade, leak-proof container that holds a convenient half-gallon of water. Their utility extends beyond just water. Amish families I've spoken with are masters of repurposing. They use these bottles to store a variety of essentials, from vinegar and lamp oil to dry goods like beans and rice. They're also excellent for creating passive heating elements. During a power outage, fill a bottle with hot water, screw the cap on tightly, and place it in your sleeping bag. The thick plastic will radiate a surprising amount of heat for hours. To prepare them for long-term water storage, fill them about 90%. This leaves an essential air gap at the top, giving the expanding ice room to grow without stressing the container walls. Cap them tightly and store them in a cool, dark place. I keep a dozen filled bottles stacked in my basement. They take up very little space and provide a 6-gallon emergency reserve. These bottles can also be modified for other uses. Cut the top third off one bottle, invert it, and you have a perfect funnel for transferring liquids or grain. When empty, they can be nested inside one another to save a tremendous amount of space in a bug-out bag. One important note: while they can hold fuels like kerosene or gasoline in a short-term emergency, they are not designed for long-term hydrocarbon storage, as the fuel can slowly degrade the plastic. Stick to water, food, and other non-flammable liquids for your primary stock.